England, 1880. It was the end of November when Isabella Marie Swan stepped down from the carriage, her skirt soaked and her soul too young for such dampness. She came from London, or rather, she was fleeing it. Her mother, fickle and sickly, had agreed to send her to live with her father, Inspector Charles Swan, stationed in Cumberland, in the far northwest of England. The village she arrived at wasn't on any modern map. Whitlock Hollow, a valley surrounded by dense forests, muddy roads, and a silence so thick it seemed chewable. Bella was greeted by a housekeeper with a cracked face and a broken voice, Mrs. Kingsley. "Tea awaits you in the east parlor, Miss Swan. Your father returns at dusk." "Thank you," Bella whispered, uncomfortable in the corset tighter than the whole journey. The house was large, cold, filled with dark portraits and clocks that seemed to throb rather than tick. The air was heavy, as if something was watching from the walls. That same week, during a poorly attended mass, Bella first saw the family that, according to the priest, lived in Cullenhall mansion atop the forest. They entered without looking at anyone. A blonde lady of ethereal elegance, a burly young man who didn't speak, a petite woman with enormous eyes, a golden-haired gentleman with a melancholic smile. And behind them all, a young man with translucent skin, liquid gaze, and a shadowy step. Bella felt the air stop. He looked at her, and didn't look again the rest of the mass. "They are the Cullens," her father explained upon returning from patrol. "They keep to themselves. Pay well, 'cause no trouble." "Where are they from?" "No one knows for sure. Some say the continent, others that they've been here over a century." "Don't they age?" "What kind of question is that?" At the parish school where Bella attended embroidery and French lessons, the other girls whispered. "They say Mr. Edward Cullen never eats or drinks, and he hasn't been in church since the last reverend died. Remember Miss Pierce, the governess who disappeared? They say she went to Cullenhall and never came back." Bella saw them again at the market, and this time he approached. "Miss Swan," said Edward Cullen, voice low and formal, "I must apologize. I didn't introduce myself in church." Bella bowed her head, trembling without reason. "It wasn't necessary. It is to me. You have caught my attention. Why?" He didn't answer, but his eyes, gray as stormy seas, looked at her like they hadn't seen anyone in centuries. The meetings became frequent, brief walks, quiet talks, book exchanges, restrained glances. Bella didn't understand what she felt, nor why Edward recoiled as if burned when touching her hand, until one foggy day in the woods, she got lost, and something followed her. Not him, not human. Claws, fangs, a low growl, a hunter under the full moon. And when she thought it was over, Edward Cullen burst from the trees like a fury, eyes black, voice no longer human. Back! Whatever chased her retreated. Edward met it with impossible speed and killed it, with bare hands, effortlessly. Bella collapsed. Her corset squeezed the air out, her mind couldn't grasp it, and her heart, still in love, broke at the sight of what he truly was. Edward didn't look at her at first. He only said, trembling, "I'm not what you think." "Then tell me what you are." He looked up. "I'm an aberration, a memory of the past refusing to die, a monster trying to love without destroying. And that thing was worse than you?" Edward stepped closer. "That was a scent hunter, one of the last members of a secret order, vampire hunters, Victorian, for hire." "And you are?" Edward nodded. "A vampire." Bella covered her mouth, but didn't run. "Why did you save me?" He didn't hesitate. "Because I still don't know how to live without you." But what they didn't know, what they couldn't yet see, was that the hunter who followed Bella wasn't alone. And in the dark halls of the continent, in sunken taverns and forgotten monasteries, a secret society called the Blade of St. Bartholomew had been alerted. A new witness has survived. The Cullen lineage must be purged, and under the next full moon, they would arrive in Whitlock Hollow, with stakes, fire, and Isabella Swan's name written on their list. Whitlock Hollow, 3 weeks later. Dry leaves crunched under the steps of strangers who did not speak. They arrived at dusk. No carriages, no escort. Just dark cloaks, silver symbols, carved crosses. The Blade of St. Bartholomew, hunters of the immortal. Bella felt the pressure growing. Since the attack in the woods, the town whispered. The Cullens hadn't been seen in days. And she burned between two worlds. She couldn't sleep, she couldn't eat, and she couldn't stop thinking about him. Edward hadn't returned. But Alice came one night, her cloak soaked from the rain, and her face more serious than ever. You have to come with me. Where? To Cullenhall. You're not safe in this house. Why? Alice looked out the window. Because the hunt has begun. Cullenhall was sealed, blocked doors, windows covered in black curtains. Esme hugged her without a word. Rosalie didn't speak to her. Emmett sharpened iron, though he didn't need to. Jasper prepared oil and candles. Carlyle studied books, formulas, maps. Edward didn't appear. Where is he? Bella asked. Carlyle only said, he's searching for an ending that won't reach you. The first attack came the next night. A hooded figure threw a firebomb against Cullenhall's facade. Emmett extinguished it with one blow. Jasper chased the attacker, but missed. They're here, he murmured. Carlyle nodded. And they won't come one by one. Bella found Edward in the cellar, surrounded by old papers. Why are you hiding me? Because you love me, and that, in this world, is a curse. Bella slapped him. He didn't move. If you love me, don't push me away, because if I die, it'll be because I chose you. Edward finally looked at her. Then promise me you'll live. She shook her head. Only if you do too. That night, the hunters came. Not through the door, through the roof, through the walls. Silent, like shadows with silver fangs. One wounded Rosalie, another nearly decapitated Jasper. But Bella stepped in when one pointed a stake at Edward, and she was the one who took the slash to her side. Edward held her in his arms while the others fought. Carlyle shouted something. Alice cried without sound, and Edward only whispered, "Don't go. Don't leave me again. Not now. Not after all this." And then he bit her. The battle raged. The house burned. The hunters retreated. One fell. Two escaped. Carlyle stared into the flames. He knew they couldn't stay. Not after this. Days later, the fire was blamed on candles. The bodies never found. The Cullen family vanished, and Miss Swan presumed dead. But in the northern forests of Scotland, in an old abandoned chapel, a couple walks under the endless rain, silent, together. Edward, the monster who learned to love. Bella, the human who chose eternity to protect him. And behind them, a new figure, a young girl. Gray eyes, dark hair, born of fire, of a vow, and of twilight. Her name, Eleanor, and around her neck an oxidized silver cross, eternal reminder of what they were and what they chose to be.